Okay, hi there students. Here we have an essay at level C2, and this is the prompt, this is the question. Tourism is one of the biggest industries in the world, supporting many economies. However, some people argue that tourism is having a negative impact on the traditional cultures of popular destinations. In what ways does tourism affect people and places? Support your opinion with reasons and examples. And here we have the essay. Tourism has an effect on the traditional cultures of popular destinations. Great. That's for sure, and nobody can deny it. Okay, we're setting a reasonably informal tone. I'd probably give it something like a 4.5. However, this is not anything new. If we think about Spain in the 60s, we can have a clear example. Without this can, we have. If we think about Spain in the 60s, we have a clear example. At that moment, the whole country had been isolated for 2 decades. Okay. For 2 decades because of the dictatorship that ruled the country. Although the Mediterranean areas of the country, which were very popular touristic destination, were a very popular touristic destination for people from other countries, were in contact with other customs and cultures. Okay, let's see. Firstly, touristic destination. I'd prefer just a noun-noun collocation. A tourist destination. At that moment, the whole country had been isolated for 2 decades because of the dictatorship that ruled the country. Although Mediterranean areas, which were very popular tourist destination for people from other countries, were in contact with other. Okay, so we've got one big long sentence here, and it doesn't hang together. At that moment, the whole country had been isolated for 2 decades because of the dictatorship that ruled the country. I don't get the although, so I'm going to put a full stop here. Take out the although. The Mediterranean areas of the country the Mediterranean areas of the country, which were a very popular tourist destination for people from other countries. Okay, were in contact. Let's change this. Had always been in contact, had always been in contact with other customs and cultures. So the Mediterranean areas of the country, which in the 60s became a very popular tourist destination for people from other countries, had always been in contact with other customs and cultures. So let's try had always had contact, had um, had always had traditionally always had contact with other customs and cultures. Therefore, the traditional fishing village, not fisherman, well, you could say fisherman's village, but fishing village, Villegas, adopted itself to the new customs and usages tourists brought with them. In fact, Ibiza, a little fisherman's island. So, is it a little fisherman or a little island? Became, we've got the became now, a popular hippie destination at a moment when the lifestyle in general in the country could not differ more from the hippie ideas. Okay, so a little fisherman's island. A little island for fishermen became a popular hippie destination at a moment when the lifestyle in general in the country could not differ. Okay, could not differ. Could not have differed more from the hippie ideal. Let's see, it just reads better with could not have differed more from the hippie ideas, generally from hippie ideas. Nowadays, Ibiza is one of the most posh tourist places in the world. One of the most posh. Yeah, it's one of the most posh tourist places in the whole world. This cultural exchange can arouse different feelings or attitudes. But as with everything else in life, there are two main thought currents. So, this cultural exchange can arouse different feelings or attitudes. But, as with everything else in life, there are two main thought currents. Let's make that sound better. Two main schools of thought. Okay, schools of thought. Well, the thought is already there. Those who think that this exchange of traditions and ideas is good for everybody because it means adding. They both, tourists and local people, can take the best from the people they meet. Okay, those who think this exchange of ideas and traditions is good for everybody because it means adding. It means adding. I understand what you mean. It means progress, improvement, learning. It means adding to society. They both. It means adding to society. They both. I think it means adding to society, comma. both tourists and local people and locals can take the best, can take on, can absorb, can absorb the best traits, the best features, the best characteristics of the people they meet. On the other hand, there are those who are against it because they think that traditional culture and lifestyle give way to new ones. And eventually they disappear. On the other hand, there are those who are against it because they think traditional culture and lifestyle, let's modify it, may give way to new ones, and eventually they will disappear. That means taking away. Good. Okay. If you're going to put that there, then let's put this here as well. Taking away. That means taking away. So let's just join these two little bits. That means taking away. And of course, that's not desirable. Some years ago, that cultural exchange was directly related to tourism, or I'd rather say to the exchange between people, because that was the only way of getting to know other people and their ways of doing. Okay, some years ago, that cultural exchange, I'm going to lose the that. Some years ago, cultural exchange was directly related to tourism. Or rather, to exchange between people. Because that was the only way of getting to know other people and their ways of doing things. Thus, both tourists and local people were interested in those interactions. I do not think that is the case currently, when we can find out about everything in many different ways, mainly on the web. Therefore, we can be in our own home, seeing what happens anywhere in the world. Therefore, we can be in our own home and see what happens anywhere in the world. Getting information has never been easier. I'm going to put a semicolon here. It just gives it whoops. And see, getting information has never been easier. To sum up, I would like to say that this phenomenon is currently very difficult to stop or prevent. We all agree that it's a pity when places and people lose their identity. What makes them unique to others? When something that we all agree that it's a pity when places and people lose their identity, something that makes them unique to others. In fact, it is then when they lose their charm and their lure for tourists and visitors. So in this case, I would say they're a lure, and they're a lure for tourists or visitors, and cease to be a lure for tourists or visitors. This phenomenon can be said to be a vicious circle. Logic wrapped in nonsense, chasing its own tail. Okay, definitely you've written better than this. Let's see. It's okay. It's definitely a pass at C2. There are one or two bits that don't hang together very well. I'm thinking about the cohesion. It reads okay, but it's certainly lacking a bit some of your better style. The vocabulary is okay. There's nothing to write home about. And again, as well, vocabulary, vicious circle. I like vicious circle, and I like this wrapped in nonsense, chasing its own tail. Structure and grammar, again, okay. I think I'm probably going to give it 6 out of 10 at level C2. I think the whole thing's okay, but you could do better, I'm sure. So anyway, enough. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a rating, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.